Eighth graders, eighth grade graduates, new freshmen, however you're called at this time of year, I want to just tell you how proud we are of you. We're proud of you for a number of reasons. For all that you achieved, all the ways that you prepared yourself for the next step in your academic career, all the hard work you put in, all the growth. We're proud of you for the amazing way that you exemplified Hun values, kindness and respect and integrity, and your teachers tell me that you were one of the best classes in memory for all those things, and it means you're going to be great leaders in the upper school in the years ahead. And lastly, for the way you handled last spring. You certainly didn't want to lose your last time in classes with teachers, or your last fun time in person with friends, or the athletics and music and clubs, all the fun stuff of campus life. But those were the cards you were dealt, and looks like you're going to have to need those same qualities in the fall ahead. It's going to be a fall unlike any other at the Hun School, but we're going to make it work. It's such a funny time for a graduation because it was months ago when you were last here. Some of the memories of being an eighth grader might already begin to fade at this point, but I can guarantee you that a lot of other memories are going to stick with you for a lifetime. I graduated from middle school almost 50 years ago, and I can't remember my own phone number half the time. And I can't swear that I remember everything that I learned, although I know it was important at the time and important for my progress in the future. But what I really remember are the people. I could name every single one of my eighth grade teachers. I could tell you a funny story about every one of them. I hope you can do that too, 50 years from now. I can, if you showed me a class picture of my eighth grade classmates, I could name every one of them. And I can remember the people who cared about me. I remembered all the fun time with my friends. I remember the times that we boosted each other up, and a few times when we probably let each other down a little bit. But it's all very vivid to me still, all these years later. And it's always the people, more than the things or more than the events. I think those memories will stick with you too.
I am beholden to the recipient of this year's English prize, and a little bit to Shakespeare for helping me write this speech. The recipient pushed himself to be as constant as the northern star. Faithful and just, he climbed young ambition's ladder, and when reaching the top rung, did not spurn the base degrees from which he did ascend. Rather, he looked within himself and consented me to be his mirror, allowing me to modestly discover that of himself which he did not yet know of. He buffeted the torrent of virtual learning with great aplomb. And as Aeneas did deliver his father, the great Anchises bear, from the flames of Troy, did this student deliver himself successfully from the virtual world of Hun academics. He bestride the cyber world like a colossus and mastered his English performance and personal action as he prodigiously grew in the craft of literature comprehension. Working the livelong virtual school day, he did vanquish his assignments, and now we make holiday to rejoice in his triumphs. To be or not to be, or rather, to improve as a student or not to, that is the question. And he chose the latter, weeping his virtual school tears into the channel, till the lowest stream did kiss the most exalted shores. And now I am sure that the skies are painted with unnumbered sparks. They all fire, and every one doth shine. But there's but one, unassailable, that holds his rank. And with that in mind, Gabe Jacknow is the recipient of this year's English prize. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Gabe. I'd like to welcome Ms. Anderson first for a math prize, and then Ms. Skelly second.
Good morning, everyone. I'm honored and proud to present the Mathematics Effort Award to a student I've had the pleasure of teaching for the last 2 years. This student has shown determination, resilience, and grit during his mathematics career in the middle school. He's wowed his classmates with his out-of-the-box thinking, leading to the infamous phrase during our Algebra 1A class of "that's Jamie's math." That's Jamie's math. That's Jamie's math. Whispering all throughout the class. To the future pilot, engineer, and/or architect, whatever you choose, Jamie, I'm sure you'll be successful. I'm thrilled to present you this year's Mathematics Effort Award.
My mother would be so proud of me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to campus. We have all been on quite the adventure since we have seen each other last, a journey that none of us have faced before. In its own way, math too is a journey, a quest, if you will. You know the task you want to complete, the problem you want to solve, but sometimes you do not know the troubles you will face in order to reach your destination. Every student finds their own obstacles to overcome along the way. The negative sign they cannot seem to remember to distribute, or the foe that is their TI graphing calculator and all of its settings. Sometimes the true test is simply knowing where to begin this expedition. The student who has earned this prize has covered great lengths of material, mastered theorems, and conquered the class that is Algebra 1. Alex Maranzoli has achieved this gallantly, never shying away from the challenge and persevering through whatever puzzles and formulas I could throw his way. Even so, Alex, you went deeper into the thicket of the material. You dedicated your time, and only on occasion your sanity, until you understood all of algebra's mysteries. You will face many journeys in the studies of your future. Many of them will prove to be difficult. Always know that your teachers are there to guide you. Seek their advice often. Continue to brave every class as you did mine. Embrace the fact that you will come out the other side a changed person, more knowledgeable, more determined, and more confident in your abilities. Every quest must come to an end, but your voyage has just begun. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Mr. Nick Savino, the younger of two Savino brothers who teach here in the middle school, will present the science prize.
Day 1 or day 100? Science in the classroom or science at home in the kitchen? Morgan Haley had a passion to learn. There were a few days when I looked up from my desk after class had concluded that Morgan wasn't still in her seat with a curious look on her face. Not with questions about what she could do to better her grade, but with a genuine curiosity for what we had learned that day and an eagerness to take it to a new level. Morgan strived for excellence while in the classroom, showing proficiency in her consistent lab reports and day-to-day assignments. It's easy to think that passion would waver when switching to a virtual setting, but Morgan continued to thrive. Our experiments at home became more of guidelines, hoping that students would follow their curiosity and ask the questions. Morgan did exactly that, stretching those guidelines and pushing her curiosity to new levels. Two of the projects that stood out to me were a food chemistry project, where she investigated the chemical bonding behind musk cake, and her compound project, in which she created a podcast about potassium carbonate. Morgan, congratulations on receiving the 8th grade science award. The sky is the limit for you and your classmates here at Hun and in the future.
Congratulations, Morgan. I'd like to invite the senior member of the middle school faculty, Ms. Noose, up to the stage to, to give the geography prize. Well, it's true, Joan.
Yes, I'm old, okay? Anyhow, let me start by saying it's so nice to see everyone not in a little Zoom box. Like, I can actually see you, not that I can really tell who you are because you have masks on, but that's okay. So last fall, when we studied Africa, you tackled the challenging eradication plan assignment. You went through the steps of figuring out how to keep a disease such as malaria, cholera, and HIV/AIDS from spreading, since not all diseases could be easily cured, so that hopefully in time these diseases would be eradicated from the country you were assigned. Who would have known at that time that the world would be tackling a similar thing very soon? I believe that this class, more than any, or most people in the world at least, has a better understanding of what goes into tackling this kind of pandemic that the world is currently dealing with. So geography class goes a long way in helping you to understand the world we live in. So good job, guys. A good geography student is open to learning about the world we live in, working with classmates, and to develop writing skills. These are not easy things to do, and the end of the school year made this more challenging. I would say that this class as a whole rose to the challenge and made the end of the year a good one. This year's winner did that especially well, and for that reason, the Geography Prize goes to Connor Frickholm.
Congratulations, Connor. I'd like to welcome Senorita Kaylee Metzger to the stage to deliver the Spanish prize. Kaylee?
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see everyone, even at a distance. Spanish award this year goes to someone who has an infectious energy about her. She brought a special element to our class and always shared a little piece of herself. As all language teachers know, having a native speaker in class always adds an extra spunk, and it's even better when that student is willing to share about their experiences and culture. Whether it was hysterically laughing at the chancla being thrown in cocoa, explaining what tamales and gallo pinto are, to telling jokes in Spanish that took some explanation for everyone else to get due to them being puns in Spanish, very punny. She brought a fun energy with her and sparked an excitement in the rest of the class. Valerie, thank you for showing up every day, excited to be there. Your enthusiasm was much appreciated, and I wish you the best of luck in the upper school. Come on and get your award.
Congratulations, Valerie. Monsieur Evan Kleber, would you come up to deliver the French prize?
Fun fact, the beret has origins in Basque country in southwestern France and northeastern Spain, and was worn by farmers and shepherds to protect from the sun. Bonjour et bienvenue, chers élèves et familles. It is un plaisir to see you again and to present le prix de français to a very worthy individual today. This past spring, it was sad to not work with the fabulous students in French C in person. Even online, though, they brought energy, enthusiasm, and joy into class each day, and I'd like to honor one young man among them who is particularly deserving of this award. I recall back in 6th grade year thinking, What French first name do I know that begins with an I? Idriss is a student whom I have had the pleasure of watching grow into a confident learner. Looking back on his 3 years in French, he's come a long way. At times, he shared that French was not easy for him, but I never saw him stop trying. Idriss worked hard to improve his pronunciation, especially. He put wonderful effort and humor into making video projects and writing paragraphs. He wasn't afraid to ask for support, whether in person or through polite emails. A fun-loving member of our group, he brought his signature wit and love for French stereotypes to French C. In fact, I think I have a renewed appreciation for les baguettes thanks to him. Idriss went from a cautious, concerned beginner to a joyful, confident French learner and leader who I hope continues to let the language and culture expand his horizons further in the upper school through tough and easy moments alike. So without further ado, I'm delighted, je suis ravi, to present the French Award this year to Isaac Idriss Ray Rosek.
Congratulations, Isaac. Wow, it's amazing how different some of you look. We haven't seen you all in so long. It's incredible. Dr. Tom Talboy, who secretly is happy that the two cohorts at Hun are now called Scientium and Honorum, will present the Latin prize.
Well, so much for secrets, I guess. Salvete bonum diem quae omnes. Hello and good morning to everyone. It's always a pleasure to be up here. Mr. Weinstein's comment about how unrecognizable some people are only reminds me of some years ago when I had as long as hair as some of you do. We will say no more. The Roman educator and rhetorician Quintilian once declared, "Studium descende voluntate constat." Zeal for learning depends on the will of the student. The recipient of the Latin Award exemplifies this maxim. The student has consistently gone beyond the rote memorization of vocabulary and grammar rules to see beyond the words, to dive into and embrace the culture of the people we call the Romans. The fuller quote of Quintilian exclaims, "Quae cogi non potest," which cannot be compelled. That is to say, the will of the student is inherent in the student. No compulsion was required. The recipient of the Latin Award fully demonstrated that the will of the learner is that which drives the student to success. For sustained enthusiasm and expression of will applied to learning Latin, I am pleased to present this year's Latin Award to Eva Iben.
Congratulations, Ava. I'd like to call up Deborah Watts, who's the chair of our Performing Arts Department, to present the Performing Arts Prize. Deborah? Deborah normally leads us in with her bagpipes, which, due to COVID, we had to cancel this year, so we really missed that.
Good morning, everyone. I know you're used to seeing me in a kilt. Well, I guess unless you've got a previous 8th grader, you wouldn't know that, but usually I'm doing this in a kilt. I'm pleased to present the Performing Arts Award this morning. The Performing Arts program in the middle school is designed to spark the imagination and creativity of all of our students, providing opportunities to acquire the skills necessary to express themselves as musicians, actors, and technicians. Through classwork in the chorus, orchestra, and drama class, all students explore and practice techniques of expression and have opportunities to find their own artistic voice. The Middle School Performing Arts Award is presented annually to an 8th grader who has shown energy, curiosity, and artistry in his or her pursuit of that artistic voice in the middle school program. This year's recipient joined the middle school orchestra as an 8th grader. His energy, positivity, and team spirit quickly made him both a musical asset and a team builder in the ensemble. In just 1 year in the Hun Middle School, he's shown tenacity in his consistent approach to improving his own technique within the context of developing fine ensemble skills. His musical growth is impressive. He pushed himself to prepare for and audition for the CJMEA Honors Band last year, began to take private lessons, and participated with enthusiasm in our unexpectedly virtual 4th marking period. It's my honor and pleasure to present the 2020 Performing Arts Award to Frederick Park.
Congratulations, Frederick. Excellent. And for our last academic award, the Visual Arts Prize, Sean Hildreth will present. If you have not been through the Buck building recently, the middle school building, there are some amazing murals in there that he has worked on to start the year. So we'll snap some pictures. We'll get that up on our social media feed, but really just beautiful stuff. Come on up, Sean.
Good morning, everybody. I usually do not do this in a kilt, so this is pretty normal for me. So I'm going to start off with a quote here. Art has always been the raft onto which we climb to save our sanity. I don't see a different purpose for it now. I thought that was such a perfect quote. This is from Dorothy Tanning from 2002. And boy, oh boy, Dorothy, were you right back then, because we are in some interesting times. I've had the privilege of working with this student for 3 years now. It's been wonderful seeing this individual embrace the possibility and wonder this life raft known as art can achieve. Through various mediums and techniques, this inspiring individual found what interested her within every art project thrown at her. She brought a level of care and execution to each studio session. She wouldn't hesitate to ask me questions in class about how a certain effect wasn't working or about how she could achieve something in a different way. Even when the art processes we were practicing became intensely difficult, she never gave up on herself. It would just fuel her determination to express her vision for that particular project even more. I think my favorite moments from last year were the times the student would be so enthusiastic and generous in sharing their sketchbook with me, showing me the latest sketch regarding a class project or a personal work, most of the time experimenting with facial proportions, something I'm still horrible at, by the way. Each time was an absolute gift for me because I got to share with this student the discovery and connection of how bending, winding, and fumbling lines and shapes together creates things that inspire others. This magic that happens when you made something that can spark that sense, page 2, of meaning and connection for someone else is what I think Dorothy Tanning was talking about. Tessa Falcone, you have already started to use your art to inspire those around you, including myself. And if you weren't already using it as a life raft to save your sanity before, I highly recommend that you hold on to your sketchbook and make art that can guide and support your mental/emotional well-being this year, because I will do the same. And from one art maker to another, you might get knocked out of the raft every now and then, but every time you climb back on board, you will only be stronger and more resilient for the next big wave. Thanks for sharing your joy for art with me over these 3 years. I hope it continues to provide joy in your life for years to come. Thank you, and congratulations, Tessa Falcone. Air high five. Boom.
Tess, congratulations. Roberta King was a former middle school head who demonstrated the qualities of fairness, hard work, and high standards. The Roberta King Award is given to a student who demonstrates most consistent effort and, most importantly, progress, both academically and personally throughout his or her time in the middle school. Lauren Fleischer has grown so much in her 3 years in the middle school. Understated yet determined, Lauren puts in whatever extra time a task requires in order to do her best job at it. She was very focused on not just improving her academic performance, but more importantly by learning about her personal learning style and improving her capacity and therefore her ability to learn. Both during in-person Hun and during virtual Hun, Lauren started every advisory meeting with, as her advisor put it, a chipper check-in, asking how everyone was doing. She showed true care and interest in knowing how her peers and teachers were holding up, staying upbeat despite a year full of stress. Unafraid of how it would appear to others, she showed integrity and leadership when she felt something was wrong and would question it and speak up about it. And Lauren was a kind and empathetic friend. For her growth, both personal and academic, the faculty has selected Lauren Fleischer to receive the Roberta King Award. Congratulations, Lauren. The Spirit Award is presented to 2 students who consistently exhibit a positive attitude, excellent relationships with peers and adults, and demonstrate spirit for and support of the Hun School community in multiple ways. The winners are usually students who lead by example, but also motivate others to have a positive spirit. Jude Lemming is the embodiment of Hun spirit. Always willing to put himself out there for the sake of the school, you could find Jude being an ambassador at admissions recruitment events, dressed head to toe in red for a Quill House Spirit Day contest, at the front of the improv club entertaining others, or behind the scenes convincing others to join him in some fun school spirit event. Jude's effect on others is a result of deliberate, calculated work, not only raw emotion and affection for his school. I've seen his brain work quickly as he zeroes in on a way to motivate others, brainstorms solutions to problems, and suggests ways to make the community better and better. As a measure of his impact on others, the student body selected Jude as the student that made the most impact on them. Jude maintains positive relationships with so many different students and adults. He's a trusted friend and confidant, honest as the day is long, but sensitive to the needs of others. For his supportive and spirited presence in the middle school community, the faculty has awarded a Spirit Prize to Jude Lemming. Congratulations. Gabby Rollins was described by one teacher in the mixed metaphor department as a firecracker and by another as a spark plug. A leader both on the field and on the bench, she brings genuine positive energy and enthusiasm to everything that she does. Gabby also cares about doing the right thing, not just about doing the popular thing. Gabby's love for Hun is obvious. She demonstrates that love by attending our evening social events. I think she had 100% attendance. By helping to make events more fun, by recruiting others to come to them, and by expressing her gratitude to her parents for sending her here. Gabby's zest for life is contagious, helpful, kind, and always ready to roll with whatever challenge comes next. Gabby maintains positive relationships with teachers and students alike, offering to help without being asked and suggesting ways to make the school better. For her enthusiasm and love of Hun, the faculty has chosen Gabby Rollins to receive a Spirit Award. Congratulations. Each year, we honor the 8th grade student with the highest grade point average as our class valedictorian. Michael Delario is probably one of the most curious students I know, said one teacher, and it is clear he has leveraged this curiosity as his motivation to work hard and achieve such a high academic standing. Everyone here probably knows that joyful learning is something all of our teachers strive for. Michael really seems to appreciate this. It is something all of his teachers mentioned as he enthusiastically articulates his joy in learning something new, not merely for the sake of learning it, or only to do well at it, which he clearly does, but because he enjoys it. Michael keeps a good balance in his life. He's an excellent soccer player, leading on the field, and an excellent friend, supporting those around him who benefit from his help. So in 2020, we bestow the title valedictorian on Michael Delaria. Come on up, Michael. Congratulations. We end with the Faculty Prize, which is given to a student with high academic achievement who most embodies what we aim for at the Hun School: character traits of kindness, integrity, reliability, sportsmanship, character, and leadership. I want to tell you that this year there were many deserving nominees for this award. Your class, students, is unusual in that so many of you embody our school so gracefully and so modestly. HELENA Shore has spent 2 years in the middle school, and when she arrived, made an instant impact on the grade. "I love her smile," said one teacher, "largely because you know it's genuine, and her empathy for others is shining out. HELENA is quick with a helping hand, and she takes on a lot, but always seems to be able to handle the quantity of work she has volunteered for. In addition to taking her classroom role seriously by demonstrating engagement and love of learning, she's kind to her classmates, a gracious leader, extremely reliable, and a true pillar of the Hun values. For her exceptional character, integrity, kindness, and scholarship, the faculty of the middle school awards this prize to HELENA Shore." Way back there. Congratulations. Lastly, it is our tradition to select a class speaker in the middle school who has not received one of our other awards, but demonstrates all of those important qualities we have just spoken about. Anthony CHIARELLO is smart and kind, warm and loyal, with a finely tuned and sharp sense of self. I find him easy to chat with, comfortable in his own skin, and a good sounding board if I need some advice from a student. One of those students you wish you could have taught. Anthony is going to speak for the class of 2020. Come on up, Anthony. Let me clean the podium first. Okay, you're up, bud.
Hello, parents, faculty, and class of 2024. When I got the email asking if I would accept this speech, I was hesitant. This is mainly because I do not like public speaking. But there was something about this opportunity that made me respond to Mr. Weinstein's email in minutes. Right from that moment, I knew what I was going to talk about: stepping out of your comfort zone. As students, we are always told to step out of our comfort zones and try new things. But what really is your comfort zone? Is it where you feel safe? Is it doing something that you know you won't fail at? Why would you want to go out of your comfort zone? Well, you only grow when you're outside of your comfort zone. You grow as a person by learning new things, and you learn ways to tackle obstacles that stand in your way. To the people who were in Red Shield, this may not apply to you as much as it would to others. Meeting someone that you don't know can be scary and intimidating. I remember coming into school for orientation in the 6th grade. I was probably 5'4", a wee lad. Going in, I was hoping to know one, maybe two other people. But of course, I knew no one, not a single person. That was a difficult time, because as most people here know, when you do not have someone by your side, it makes meeting people more challenging. Well, at least for kids. The Hun community was very welcoming when our whole 6th grade class came in. It felt like I was just coming back from the summer to say hi to all the teachers I already knew. I don't remember exactly how I met him, if we just somehow started a random conversation, or if we were in a class together, but I met Jude. Somehow, from that moment on, we were great friends. That first week was so scary with all the big 8th graders and not knowing too many people. But if I hadn't gone to talk to Jude, I wouldn't have had someone by my side this whole time. All students here have been to Camp Bernie at least once. You all know that, at first, Camp Bernie can be a scary place. You don't know anyone, and you're forced to do these weird activities with these people you don't know. As we have gotten older and gotten to know each other, it has gotten easier. Even for the classmates who came in the start of the 8th grade year, Camp Bernie may have been a weird place since you do not know too many people. Although this seems odd and unconventional, it really did help to get to know each other in a way that a classroom could not have. It also helped us work as a community to welcome new students. As Hun Middle School alumni, we have the benefit of familiarity with the school and teachers. Class of 2024. We're going into freshman year. That means a lot of new people. I ask you to do one simple thing. Go up and talk to 2 people. 2 people you don't know. Give yourself a challenge. For some people, this may be the easiest thing to do. But for others, step out of your comfort zone and go meet someone. Have a conversation. See what classes they have and if you have any together. As uncomfortable as you may be approaching a new 9th grader, they are most likely far more uncomfortable than you. COVID-19 is a weird time. It has made learning harder than ever, no matter what grade level. We are all adjusting to an online environment, and it can be a challenge, whether it's taking notes or taking a test. When we went online, I was bummed because I could not see my friends. We couldn't have conversations in the hall and sit together at lunch. But oddly enough, I discovered I did better work. This is mainly because I had no one and nothing to run me off my tracks and focus on school. Online school has made me realize putting in that extra effort will definitely raise the grades. I'd also like to take this time to thank our administrators, faculty, and staff for doing an amazing job at teaching and doing everything they could to make our day flow as easy as possible during COVID-19. Classmates, for the future, try ways on how to continue to remain flexible, find a new way to learn and connect with peers and stick to it. Although it's hard for us, it's just as hard or harder for the teachers, so try your best and don't give up. Have you ever wanted to run that extra mile? You think you can do it, but you don't want to let yourself down by stopping, so you give up. When you stay in your comfort zone, you're staying at a place where you think you can perform at your best without failing. But sometimes, to improve in what you're doing, you need to step out of that space where you feel safe. Jude and I have gotten into downhill mountain biking. I would not recommend it. Anyway, Jude and I have been through it all. We've crashed a lot. We've done stuff that I wouldn't have imagined was even possible to do, and with that has come pushing each other mentally and physically. For the people who do not know, downhill mountain biking is a very fun, yet dangerous and scary sport, depending on where you go. Basically, you put your mountain bike on a ski lift and ride down the mountain. There was this 10-foot long, 5-foot tall drop that I've always wanted to ride. Jude and I rode the mountain of our 2-day trip and ridden past it once and been like, well, that's a little sketchy. We went up for another run and I pushed him to ride it. Take into account, I was also scared out of my mind. We would only ride it if the other did, so we both did. I wouldn't have known that 1 second of airtime could make you feel like you're flying if I had let fear overtake that moment. So thanks, Jude. Camp Bernie, 8th grade. The whole day was very fun and our raft didn't sink. There was a high ropes challenge. 2 people started off at each end of the Y and merged to the middle. Once you're at the middle of the Y, you have nothing to hold on to except the other person balancing. Watching one after another fall while trying to balance was definitely not confidence-inspiring. It was my turn to go up, and I was paired with young Mr. Savino. Long story short, I'm afraid of heights, and Mr. Savino fell. We tried. We really did. I was somehow able to get to the end with Mr. Savino slowly lowering to the ground. There was something about that moment that showed me, hey, stepping out of your comfort zone, getting to a point where you feel unsafe and scary, is a good thing. Next time one of you are out of the field as a Hun athlete or in your backyard practicing, and you're at that point where you start to go, I don't know if I can do this. Try and do it. Whether it's throwing another lacrosse ball or taking a second off of your time. Step outside of that space where you feel safe and try new things. Class of 2024. Today, Cheeseboro Hall is definitely not our comfort zone. While we are only moving next door to the middle school building, in some ways, it feels like we are leaving behind all of our familiar faces, halls, and classrooms. But just like they tell us, we need to step outside of our comfort zone in order to grow. The Hun High School experience offers us tremendous opportunities for growth. We are truly grateful to our parents and guardians for giving us this opportunity. We are also grateful to all of our Hun Middle School faculty, administrators, and staff for preparing us for this opportunity. Now it's up to us to step outside of our comfort zones and take advantage of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. When you send me your speech, I did Google downhill mountain biking. It's definitely the definition of outside of my comfort zone, but it looks like so much fun. You guys wore helmets, right? And with the face shield? Yeah, that's what I saw. Boy, I fell down the YouTube hole that night and didn't get out until about midnight. Great. So the protocol now is you're going to get your diplomas, middle schoolers, a little bit different than usual. Normally we line you up. Ms. Anderson's going to come to the podium. She's going to read your name. You're going to come up to the table and take your diploma. Ms. Carvalho will take care of making sure you get the right diploma. And after you get your diploma, if you could walk to the west end of the turf, there will be a photographer there to take your picture. And then from there, you can go back to your seat. And we'll try to do this at a pace at which nobody will overlap or walk past each other. Okay? Ms. Anderson, you ready?
Anthony, this is definitely out of my comfort zone. I dread this time the most. So here we go. Congratulations, everyone. Start off. Edward Robert Balowitz, Jr. Avery Lee Barrett. Cole Abel Block. Caitlin Claudia Borgstrom. Dylan Thomas Bucari. Sophia Rose Canuli. Leon Ava Shea. Anthony Luciano Chiarelli. Michael David Delorio. Kaya Alicia Diaz, sorry. Said Alicia Keys. Ava Rebecca Iben. Tess Grace Falcone. Lauren Lillian Fleischer. Connor Tristan Fricombe. James Matthew Furrier. Morgan Brianna Haley. Ryan Austin Greenstein. Gabriel Prager Jacknow. Tyler Christopher James. Isabel Jimenez. Unable to attend today, Haley Elizabeth Kearns. Olivia Grace Kim. Chinmay Kamal Korpati. Daphne Aida Kululu. James Guy Langford. Lauren Nee Larkin. Jude August Lemming. Catherine Kennedy LaTrent. Sean Michael Leibowitz. Alexander Roger Marizoli. You can walk. It's okay. Ethan Duquist Michelle. Jackson Reese Miller. Jackson, you have a great walk-up. Jasper William Morgan. Valerie Navarro. Lucy Ann Ort. Dylan Emma Oster. Frederick Jinwoo Park. Unable to attend, Tarun Rajendra Patan. Luca Sandine Rocha Pinto. Isaac David Ray Resnick. Hudson Jones Rydell. Gabriela Aubrey Rollins. Ethan Lawrence Ross. William Carlos Shotsky. Devin Kurish Seth. Aiden Michael Shine. Helena Evelyn Shore. Olivia L. Spector. And last but definitely not least, Luke Joseph Suffin.
So the whole time I was scanning the audience looking for Mr. Hughes, who's been setting up for 2 orientations today for grade 9, and then I turned around and there he was. He came from the back. I'd like to welcome Ryan Hughes, the head of the upper school, who will welcome you officially into the upper school. Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. Weinstein. Parents, faculty, friends, and especially Hun Middle School 8th grade class. As head of the upper school each spring, I anticipate the honor I'm granted to officially welcome you to the Hun Upper School. While this year it was delayed a bit, it is still a special moment for me because of how much I know you all will shape the upper school in the years ahead. It's an honor because I know that all that you have accomplished in middle school is but the foundation of Hun's future. Normally, when I have these few minutes to share a welcome with our 8th grade, summer stands between us and the start of upper school. Not so this year. Upper school starts in about 30 minutes for the honor room team and this afternoon for Scientium. That makes my request of you this morning more immediate and I hope impactful. You are the only 8th grade class in the history of the Hun School of Princeton to ever end middle school and start upper school on the same day. In that challenge, I hope you will take devotion toward larger causes. Like Anthony so eloquently said, get out of your comfort zone. But I want to be a little more specific and ask that you pledge 3 simple goals in the hours and days ahead. Number 1, you know our community. You know our values and our culture. Use that knowledge to welcome your new classmates today with kindness. Find somebody you don't know today. Get outside of your comfort zone, lead, and make new friends that will bind the class of 2024 in unique and important ways. Number 2, when you meet your advisor today and your teachers tomorrow, resolve to use your energy and engagement in your classes to inspire them to even more joyful teaching. They will build on the enthusiasm you bring to your classes and to your advisory group, so help make Hun the school you want it to be. Number 3, use your school spirit, your artistic and athletic talents to get involved in new extracurriculars. Create new clubs, propose events for your classmates. In our new blended learning model, we will need leaders like you to create new traditions and opportunities. So, Hun Middle School 8th grade, with all of your gifts, meet these challenges in the days and years ahead. If the 8th graders could please stand. It is my pleasure, as head of the upper school, to officially declare you members of the Hun School of Princeton Upper School Class of 2024. Congratulations.
Okay, you may be seated. Thank you so much, Ryan. You're going to love this group. As I said earlier when you were arriving, when you were walking down the stairs, you have no idea how happy we are to see you. Don't let the distance fool you, the distance between you and me and you and your teachers. We'd give you a big hug if we could. Your teachers missed you so much last spring, and I'm guessing that you are pretty happy to see each other and to be back at Hun. And while Raider and I really loved seeing you in June at your homes individually, we much prefer seeing you that you are all together in one place, in this place. This is, I hope, one of your happy places, and we're so happy you're back. Parents and faculty, if I could start by thanking you for all of your hard work getting these graduates to this place. Parents, guardians, other relatives, grandparents, friends, you've made many sacrifices so these graduates can have this education, and they are grateful, I'm sure. You supported them through the tests and papers and performances and through a spring and summer like no other that any of us have ever experienced. Faculty, you have been extremely dedicated to our kids. As advisors, coaches, and teachers, you have created a warm and challenging environment for them to grow and learn in. In a supportive way, you have mentored them and encouraged them to be the very best versions of themselves, and we are so appreciative of you. How unusual is it to place your graduation on the day before your convocation, sort of your commencement, your commencing of your high school career? We had a choice. We could have had a virtual graduation on Zoom for you in June, but we chose to roll the dice and hope that we could see all of you together in person here, hoping we could open up our campus and get back to our new normal configuration of the Hun School of Princeton. I want to talk to you a little bit today about challenges and about how you meet them. Anthony spoke about moving outside your comfort zone, and he related it to his own personal experiences. I hope, graduates, when you were listening to him, you were both empathizing with him and also thinking about times this past year when you needed to go outside of your comfort zone. Certainly coming up this year, you will need to do this, but not just here at Hun with a new class, a new subject, an arts requirement, or a science requirement, but also in your social interactions, and most certainly in how you interact with the world outside of Hun. While the media would have us believe that teenagers are self-centered and concerned only with themselves and their social media, my experience with your class has been 180 degrees the opposite. I have found you to be exceptionally outgoing and outward thinking, concerned with each other, concerned about your families, willing to help one another, and focused on your world outside of Hun in an unusual way. If there was an empathy test one could give, your class would have an unusually high score. I don't know if you're the best mathematicians, geographers, scientists, or artists. I can't really tell that, but I am positive you are the most empathetic class I've worked with in a long time. Were you born that way? Were you raised that way? Or are you responding to your environment? In other words, is the current world and the stressful events you have had to respond to in some way responsible for your positive outlook? You began your 8th grade year with training in positive psychology, back when Hun was normal, when there was no honorum and scientium. There was one cohort, not two. You were our first class to undergo this training, designed to help you remain positive in the face of stress, to help you support others, to have concrete and measurable skills, to remain resilient, to improve how you think of yourself, and to improve your relationships. And throughout the fall and winter trimesters, you sharpened those skills in advisory, practiced them on one another, and reflected on how to remain positive in the face of negativity or stress. Our buck-building community reflected your newly acquired skills. People were happy in the halls and in their advisory families. Learning was both joyful for you and joyful for me to watch. The growth you experienced, although harder to notice when we saw you daily, was exceptional. And research tells us that happy, positive, safe students achieve at higher levels. Then we went home for spring break, and everything changed. Remember that second week of spring break? There was so much uncertainty, and we had to figure out new ways to learn, new ways to stay safe and connected to one another, and new ways to be positive. In each of our virtual morning meetings during the spring trimester, throughout the quarantine and the isolation, we tried to find ways to connect you all with each other, to connect with you, to help you remain positive, keep our sense of joy and humor, even when facing the world's problems beyond the COVID pandemic. I was so proud of the way you tackled virtual Hun last spring. It was all so new for you, a new schedule, new workspace, new types of assignments and discussions, finding the discipline to get started on something without Mrs. Noose grabbing you and pulling you into her classroom at 7 in the morning to work on an assignment. You also considered gratitude a lot and applied your lessons learned from positive psychology. I and your faculty all think you successfully met the challenges of virtual Hun. But then school was over, and the list of issues and challenges that affected our country and you this summer is long. A continued pandemic that affected our poorest cities more than our middle-class suburbs, limits our travel and our socializing and some people's ability to work and make a living. Extremely high unemployment, the deaths of black men and women while in police custody, protests in cities, protests over monuments and names on buildings, a presidential election that differs from all the ones preceding it because of how polarized our country is right now, celebration of the anniversary of women's right to vote, but tempered by the fact that women of color typically were not fully or easily included at that time. One of the events that affected me personally a lot this summer was the loss of Congressman John Lewis. By now, everybody knows his story. Raised on a chicken farm in Troy, Alabama, John attended the historically black Fisk University, where he was chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, from 1963 to 1966. I was 3 to 6 in that time period. Lewis was one of the leaders of groups who organized the peaceful 1963 March on Washington. You learned that in history class. He filled many key roles in the civil rights movement and its actions to end legalized racial segregation in the United States. In 1965, when I was 5, Lewis led the first of 3 Selma to Montgomery marches across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Lewis was first elected to Congress in '86 and served Atlanta, Georgia for 17 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. Know that John did not only work on civil rights issues during his 30 years in Congress. He worked to solve problems on health care, on immigration, on modernizing the IRS, on the environment, on voter rights, on the rights of Soviet Jews to emigrate to the United States. John Lewis spoke at the Hun School in 2015. Some of us were there to see it. It was an incredible moment. It was part of our Raider Reads program. We were so lucky to get him. I can't remember whose brainchild this was. We were so lucky to get him. We'd all read a graphic novel, what some people call comic books, called March, about parts of his life. I wish you guys could have been at that assembly, but most of you were, I think, only about 9 years old. The gym was silent and respectful, a little bit in awe of him, I think. And he was so friendly and so warm and encouraging of us, and so modest, too. When John spoke that day, I learned so much about the civil rights movement, stuff I hadn't thought about since I took history in my junior year of high school, which was 40 years ago. His presence here on campus changed me, and it changed how I think about the world. Just like your experiences in this COVID pandemic and the other challenges I mentioned the country has faced this spring and summer have and will change you. Good teachers ask good questions. The question I have for you is, how will you respond to challenges? John Lewis faced racial injustice his whole life, and he responded with peaceful protest, with kindness and love, and with what he called getting in a little good trouble. How will you respond? I know, your faculty knows how you'll respond. Our school motto states, seek knowledge and honor, but I'm asking you to think about how you are going to use your knowledge honorably. Because of who you are, your high empathy factor, your positive psychology training, and your Hun education, we know you'll be kind, you'll respect everyone no matter their current place in life, no matter what their politics is. You'll be informed, you'll stay engaged, you'll vote when legal to do so, and you'll become the very best version of yourself you can be, to paraphrase Lewis's Deputy Chief of Staff, Jamila Thompson. We will miss you very much in the middle school. Please stop by and visit often. Thank you. Protocol for departing, please. We ask that you maintain 6 feet between families as you walk out. There's no recessional. Places for photographs up on campus, up on the quad, the academic quad behind Russell. Please spread out. Please keep your masks on until you get to your car. And congratulations to everybody.